So that was a long time ago. That's like almost a month ago. Oh, there we go. Week 11, October 5th through the 10th. Let's get it. You finally got your baskets on P-bars? That's awesome. That's what I like to hear. And yeah, we're going to start off on floor. Okay, so during this week, I honestly wasn't sure what. It was filmed so long ago, I didn't know what day was what day. And I really didn't do too much on this week. But what happened was I decided to just put all my floor together from all that entire week and just go event by event because I didn't know what day was actually what day when I finally downloaded everything. So I was like, let's just see where where everything went. But it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. And what do you guys got for me? Do I got any tips for you for an iron cross? I'd say just do a lot of straps. Save your elbows as much as you can. Really build on, or do a lot of chicken dips on the P-bars. I mean, dips really build the strength that is very similar. And did that just repeat? I think it did. That's all right. Oh, no, I'm just doing a watered down routine right here. Doing a watered down routine. So it's not too bad. And Josh, how many times a day do I train? Twice on some days. Oh, that was actually pretty spicy. I don't mind that. And then where else? Usually on, once a day on Thursdays and Saturdays, and then twice a day every other day of the week. Nothing on Sundays. And Tara, it's raining in Maryland. I'm sorry. I mean, it would be raining if it wasn't so dang cold here in Colorado. So I feel your vibes. Feel your vibes. And West Virginia Gym is glad to see you getting the basket on P-bars. It's awesome. And do I have any tips for Giants? Are you talking about high bar or floor, or high bar or P-bars Giants? And Fabian, hope you are okay. Are you going to share the strength and conditioning you do at some point? I think a lot of us would find it really interesting. I don't think I could, honestly. It would just be like a lot to ask. Oh, shoot. So yeah, okay, hold on. Because my strength and conditioning coaches, they're not going to be happy with me just breaking and filming things for my YouTube series. But flipping honey badger, I'd say on high bar, keep your head in and really just try to get your hips over your head. Two biggest things you can do. But okay, so I did want to go to some drills I was doing on vault. So these were feeling really good. And this was a day that I decided to do. If you guys are referencing my Instagram video where I did a cause 2.5, this was the day. And so those little drills were very helpful. But then here, okay, a couple cause doubles. They weren't feeling right. But then I was like, oh, there it is. There's the whippy one that I wanted. And I was like, there's a cause double. Easy peasy. Let's do another one. Oh, over rotated. We're chilling. Another one. Okay, that's 3. Let's go for the 4th one to be a cause 2.5. And wasn't successful, but I was like, all right, let's, that was supposed to be a cause 2.5. Didn't feel good, so I just did a cause double. But then I was like, all right, fine. Cause double. That's all right. And then I just went to cause 1.5, and I was helping the guys out with some drills. And it's like, all right, let me just ingrain that a little bit. So that went pretty solid. I was really up there on this day. And it honestly feels so long ago now. I can't believe I didn't, show you. Oh, I can believe I didn't show you guys this stuff earlier because, I definitely have like a little bit of mental health conversation that'll be coming on later through this episode, but we'll get there. And do you have any tips for a front pike half? Yeah, I'd say watch your toes as you open up into the half. And what do I think of when doing a Healy? I think about watching the rail which my post arm is on, and that really helps me be comfortable with reaching at the right time. And how you doing, Sabrina? Hope everything's going well. Do I have any tips for high bar for Giants? Oh, I think I already got you there, right? I did. Do I have any tips for a layout half? Drive your heels first. Drive your heels, arch the chest, squeeze the butt over the top, and then as you come over, drop your chin to your chest and your shoulder to initiate that turn. And then, Misty, but instead of high bar, do you have a second favorite event? Yeah, I'd say P-bars is up there. I also do really like floor. But I started getting pretty good at these triple fulls, and you'll see real quick, I'm going to break this down. This left hand comes really far back, which is something I used to never do. I used to think of going up. Instead, now it's going underneath me, and it really helps initiate twist a lot better. And so I think this is now just my watered down routine. Which, oh, okay, no, I did the spicy one. That was double front half. Am I going to do the two and a half double front right here? Let's see. Let me snag some Central Perk water here, guys. Oh, yeah, that was looking good. Man, I was killing it. I was killing it October 5th. I don't know what day this actually was. All right, this is always the test, though. Can I do the Randy? This is the hardest part. And no, taking that one down to the butt. But that's all right. Get back up and recover. That's honestly the hardest part about my floor routine. I could do the Randy individually as much as I want and really be detailed. But the second I try doing it when I'm like a little exhausted, it's like I just brain fart and I like forget everything that I wanted to be doing. And what do you got? West Virginia Gym is what age did I get my Iron Cross? That was, I think I was about... It wasn't until I was in college, actually, that I actually did it. So I was probably 18 when I first got it. And I think that actually played out well in keeping me healthy when I was younger, is really not pushing it, because I've never had shoulder surgery, knock on wood, and I want to keep it that way. And how often should you work out to get back into shape after being inactive for a while? Well, I'll say... with everything I've been going through, I'd say give yourself 6 weeks before you start getting back into it. I think that's the best way to go and where I'm kind of at right now. And yeah, I didn't have as good of a day on vaults this day as I did whenever I showed you vault earlier. I got it was a decent cause 1.5. Went for the cause, it was supposed to be a cause double, but decided to bail. Didn't feel right. There's a cause 1.5, but I'm falling over to the left, and I don't like that. I was like, what is going on? But I'm doing it on harder mats, so I was like, this is pretty cool, and I just bailed there. I was like, let's go back to the drills, because it didn't feel as good as it did the other day, and that was my little cartwheel drill that I like. These cause doubles, I don't think really, or cause fulls, really don't go so well, so I was like, let's go back to the drills. There's something I'm missing that just wasn't clicking. And that's the type of pull. I want to get my butt over my head as fast as possible. And that was a little exaggerated, but then I decided, let's take it over to high bar and see where this goes. And this is where things get kind of interesting because, I was just working on my taps. Yeah, someone zoomed out the camera, and I didn't realize it was so zoomed out that whole time. And what happened to me on vault? Oh, nothing. I did good on vault. They just weren't as spicy as I wanted them to be. And what do you eat on average day? I'm sure you burn a lot of calories. Yeah, I probably eat about 2,500 calories on probably on a hard day, 3,000, but it's really not that much more than like the average person diet. I still really try being as light and lean as possible. What were the factors that you considered when not pursuing the Tanaka on P-bars? How much it hurt, man. That was the biggest problem. It was every time I did it, I would be like clenching my teeth for probably like a whole minute afterwards and just like letting the burns on my underarms like mellow out. That's why I couldn't continue to do that and be like, all right, I'm so excited to do my P-bar routine, but I'm going to have to grit my teeth for so long. And how often do I train strength? I do strength and conditioning with weights 3 times a week. So it gets to be a lot. It gets to be a lot, that's for sure. Oh, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's doing some swings. I don't know why I put this in here at this point in time. Oh, wait. No, never mind. There's more in this turn. That's good. And, Sabrina, you applied to UMitch today? That's awesome. I hope you get in. It's a great place to go. That's for sure. And what's the hardest event for me? I'd honestly say rings. Like, rings is, like, very different. And the more rings I do, the harder other events get because I just get stockier and less flexible. And what else? Never mind. That's everything we got. All right, so I'm doing my P-bars. I don't even remember where I was, what I did the week before this October 5th week, but it doesn't look like I'm doing very much. I edited this video so long ago. I really don't have too much knowledge of it. I'm just letting it play, and I'm kind of learning of where I was. And Tara, am I looking forward to competing again? I 100% am. Ooh, little Makut's timer. Oh, man. I miss those. And yeah, I am looking forward to it. I just want to get healthy first, and I want to be comfortable with going out and competing. But I do miss it. I do miss like just the air that like is around you that gives you that excitement when you're getting ready for a big competition. And any tips for a Giannis Yamawaki? Yeah, I'd say be very aggressive in ducking your head or like and like dropping your shoulders, but keeping your chin extended. And then as you get there, then you're going to be able to get that rotation. But it's keeping your chest low and your hips driving as fast over your heels as you can. And if you do get nervous, how do I shake it off? So I'm mainly, if for my nerves, I usually just, a lot of self-talk, trust the process. You've done this a million times. Like, it's going to be awesome when you do so well. Like, those types of things are the things I tell myself to make it worthwhile. And really shake the nerves off. And when's Victorian? Oh, I'm not doing that anytime soon. No, that takes way too many triceps. I don't have that strength. And your elbow was injured the week before, so you didn't do P-bars? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, so yeah, it was hurting. And I think it's this next clip that is going to be the one I'm going to slow down for you guys. All right, get ready, because I'm like getting ready to do high bar again because the elbow, I was like, oh, maybe it's feeling better. I do remember, okay, this week I was ramping up. And so here, I'm going to pause it real quick. And this was where a lot of bad things happened. Because I missed the clip where I hurt my elbow. And so I got the same exact thing happened. So watch this. I cast. And then you see I'm just like, whoa, what the hell was that? And I'm down. I'm just like, Andre, bro, my elbow. My elbow's jacked. My elbow's jacked. I casted. We locked out. I felt like I couldn't straighten it. Pissed, so I kicked the freaking block like a noob. I'm just like walking to the trainer. Trainer's over here. Oh, you guys can't see that. I'm over here. Yeah, trainer's over in that corner. And I was just like, all right, well, that's a bummer. So let's slow that down for you guys one more time. Here, I'll let this fall on this handstand real quick. But yeah, so I'll just like pause it. So my arm's like bent, right? And then it's like that quick, as soon as I get to this point, I feel like my elbow just is like stuck and there's like this weird click that kind of happens. And all of a sudden it's like, I'm like, oh, no, we need to get out of that position. And so that's kind of where that all went downhill. So yeah, I think this was on Friday of that week. And so I stopped after that. I didn't do anything on Saturday or Sunday. But I did get in with the doc on, so then the next week, it was October 12th to the 17th. The 13th, which was my birthday on Tuesday, I ended up getting a cortisone injection right into the elbow because of that inflammation I was having. So the rest of this week, I pretty much took off. All I did was rehab, like very light rehab, and then strength and conditioning. We just did legs. I didn't even do like vault or floor. Like I didn't want to do anything that like involved too much because it's tender after the injection and you just want to be safe. So I didn't do anything that week. And then the following week is the week where it's like, all right, now we can start coming back and making sure that we're going to be as healthy going forward as possible. And so this is Tuesday of this week and I'm finally like, all right, now we're starting from scratch essentially. And I'm like, all right, let's just try getting back everything that I thought I could do. Like, I did the double full. I was like, all right, that felt fine. It wasn't too much. Let's do the 2.5s. I'm like out of it. I don't know really what it should feel like because it's been like 2 weeks since I last did it. And I was like, oh, wait, that actually felt pretty good. Let's go for the double front. I'm like, all right, like little bit to the right. I pulled over too much. Let's do it again. And I was like, all right, sticking it. Not bad for coming back. Like, it's it's still there. It's not all gone, which is good. So and then I'm just feeling everything out on floor because floor is definitely where I'm the strongest with this whole elbow and wrist injury stuff that I've been having recently. But as this plays out, I'll just I'll start getting in. Oh wait, something I did start feeling on floor is really getting my arms as far back on the hurdle and then driving them back from because you hurdle and then as you punch your arms come forward. And then as you punch through the ground, I'm really aggressively thinking about getting my elbows through my hips. And that's been helping on my Randies a lot, which if you saw in the first week, it really wasn't going so well. All right, and while this plays out now, I'll just start checking some questions. Where we got tips for drills and blocks on the vaults. Yeah, I'd say the best thing you could do is, I mean, it's about getting your hips, your left, or whatever. It's about getting your hips over your head as fast as possible. I like to think about piking to get it there, and then also as I block to get my hand to my ear, watching the table, and then from there I flick the wrist back this way. And that's how I get my best block. And thanks, Tara, for the happy belated. I appreciate that. And do you have to have a straight handstand on your Makoots? I mean, I think it helps just to be as square as possible. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but it has to, it's kind of wherever you feel like you want to go with it, honestly. And Omar, do I count calories? Not really. I can kind of just listen to my body and see, if there's a part, like I know if I'm like lacking in protein, like my body craves it. I've really learned how to listen to my body and what I need for like sustenance and preparation for the days to come. So I've got those things like locked and loaded. Fabian, what do you got? Do you know taller gymnasts on P-bars at competitions? I'm now so tall I can't underswing without hitting my knees on the mat. Yeah, actually, there's really no answer for that. I think you're allowed to get one notch, maybe, but I think to a certain degree, you really just can't do gymnastics if you're too tall, at least on P-bars. So maybe the specializing might be the way to go for you. And let's see, what else we got? And how do you train legs? I do a lot of hamstring and glute work. It's really honestly helped me stay safe on floor and vault quite a bit and given me a lot of power, which is something I used to never do, especially back in college, that I really wish I had done because I think my Achilles I would have never had Achilles problems growing up if I had done that. And yeah, this is me just testing out on horse again. It's like, all right, let's see how circles are feeling. Like, not too bad. I started with 20 on this day, and I did 2 sets of that, which was awesome. And it didn't feel too bad. Like, everything's a little, shaky still because it's been a while, but that's why I'm like, all right, let's just start with circles again. Back to square one. We're going to get there. No worries at all. And what else you got? What was the best lesson you learned from your Achilles tendon injury and recovery? Really taking those first 3.5 months entirely off, I think, was the best thing. And then from there, being super aggressive in my rehab. Very, very aggressive. And I was able to come back, fully in 9 months. I was able to do other events, very lightly, landings at 6 months. But I wasn't able to do floor and vault until 9 months. But it took a lot of very aggressive rehab after that 3.5 month mark. And that really solidified the strength in the tendon, though. So that's why that was able to work out so well. And tips for building high bar endurance for 5-5 start value routines. Simply repeating routines extensively can be tough and increase risk of injuries. Yeah, so what I do, Jacob, is I pretty much have little timers in for my routine, where I'm like, all right, if I have 0 energy, I'm just instead of releases, just do the taps. Instead of doing a cross, just do 2 pirouettes. You could still do the stalder, just do your dismount tap, and just do that. And maybe if you want to add more, just double up on a couple things. But you should try to be on the bar for a maximum of 90 seconds. And that's going to be a very good endurance. But the main thing is really focusing on the quality of the basics that you do during that process. And so that's really where everything starts becoming more and more beneficial in building that endurance, because it's one thing to have endurance, but it's one thing to be mindful of your skills while you're tired. And that's what endurance training really should be for you. And have I ever participated in Future Stars? Yeah, WV Gymnast. I did. It was a fun program. I wasn't the best. I think I was like a sixth place finisher, but I wasn't taking the dubs back then. But I did think it was a great foundation to start in. That's for sure. And your icon picture is your sister's bunny in a pumpkin costume. Trust me, he loved it. Well, I'm glad that he loved it. And yeah, so I did on P-bars. All I really did was what was that? I just did I tested out a couple pirouettes. I was like, swing handstands feel fine. Let me do a couple pirouettes and we'll start there. This is me just trying to figure out if this is too much or not. I think at the end of this day, I don't know if I actually tried giants yet. I think I will get there. But sometime this week, I'll get into the giants. And when did I stop working back handsprings? That was when I tore my Achilles. Really when I made the transition to not doing back handsprings anymore. And yeah, obviously I gotta still be dramatic. Look at this guy. So then I'll slide this back over here because we got some room. But yeah, just really trying to just test, like, what's it gonna feel like in my elbow if I were to... This is my timer for a Kovacs. Very exaggerated in my movements because I'm being weird. Because honestly, through that whole last week where I got the injection, I was like somewhat depressed, and I did want to touch on like the mental health aspect. There was one day, like, I woke up in the morning and me and I were just chatting, and I just like started crying, and I didn't like know why. I just knew like I felt really weird. And so I had this, I made a list, and this is a list of like all my fears and all the things that I think had been building up inside of me for a long while when, in terms of like, when things are going great, obviously it's easy to just be happy, but when things aren't going good, you have a lot of concerns. And so it honestly was one of the best things I could do was write down every single fear that I'm having. And then I shared it with my fiance, and I actually started seeing sports psychologists so I could just kind of talk through this stuff. And I was always like against it for a while, but I think admitting that I needed it was probably one of the best steps in terms of me just like, I don't know, overcoming it in a way, like admitting, don't they say that's the first step? But yeah, so I mean, essentially, I'm just going to let you guys know what my fears have been. And it's like not making the Olympic team. What will I do after I retire? What else? I've been playing too many video games and not prioritizing me and my dogs. I've been worried about finances after I retire. I'm scared that my sponsors are mad at me because I haven't been on my social media game. And so after that, I was like, all right, so what are the things I want? I want a retirement plan. I want to cook and bake more. I want to go outside more. I want to give more. I want to be more productive. I want to learn more, challenge myself more. And I want to, I want to figure things out more. And so those were all things that I think I needed to write down and put out there. And I worked with my sports psychologist and, talked it over with me. And we started going out, checking the sunsets at night, bike riding more. So we're getting outside, baking and cooking more. And honestly, I feel really good because now the elbow has been feeling a little bit better. And I started actually doing a lot more in strength and conditioning to help me feel more accomplished. And I think that was the thing I wasn't getting enough of. I wasn't getting that fulfillment from my training because I trained because I like the feeling of getting better. And throughout all these injuries, I didn't feel like I was progressing. And I think that's why I started getting down into this dark, sad, depressed place. So then I was like, my therapist was saying, hey, Sam, go hard in like strength and conditioning because it sounds like you get that feeling of being productive and, bridging the gap into you being good at gymnastics. And so I was like, yes, that's good. And so we've been doing a lot of things and really focusing on just like finding the positivity and finding that productiveness that I really crave. So, we did make a lot of moves, but I just wanted to touch on that. The mental health aspect is that, when I look back at this, probably when the series is all over, like, it's going to be crazy to think how big of an emotional roller coaster I've been going through. And so I just wanted to put that out there for the record so that when I look back at it, I can kind of come back to this. Maybe ever in my life, if I do have problems where, I'm feeling like sad or, anxious or somewhat depressed, like I could make this list and, remember that this really did help me a lot. And if anyone else out there is feeling the same way, having a list like that and, talking it over with someone and really just being open and honest with what really does, concern you or you have a lot of fear for, those are the things that once you actually say it, like I did this whole flip 180 in like my mood and my actions, and I was smiling so much more and laughing and just conversing, and honestly all it took was me really just talking about it for a little bit, and now I'm talking about it to you guys, and I'm hoping that you guys can get the same benefit that I do. So, here I am. We'll go back to the gymnastics part now. So I'm testing out the giants, I'm getting my taps ready, and I'll say throughout all this, my elbow has been feeling significantly better, guys. So I was just trying to, I'm doing all these baby swings. I honestly wasn't even watching what I've been doing, but I know that the level of gymnastics I'm doing in all of these clips are very, very low. But you have to know that I started slow once I got back to the OTC like 4 months ago. Now I'm like getting hurt all the time, so now I'm taking things really, really, really slow. And even though it's probably boring as all hell, this is like me just doing pirouettes and swings and trying to get my calluses back and just building that mental comfortability that my elbow's not going to break on me anytime soon, because it is getting stronger. And I have been doing so much rehab. It's insane. Like, these days would be short if this was all I did, but I'm spending probably another hour doing rehab on top of these days, just building the strength. I'm trying to like find that range of motion that bothers it most and do a lot of eccentric exercises to help build that muscle control and stability through the irritated ranges of motion. And so we're getting very productive with that, which feels awesome. But other than that, I'm just trying to, piece things together a little bit. So I did like 40 circles the day before Wednesday, or on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday I did 50 circles. I took Thursday off, and then on Friday I'm gonna start getting into 50 circles and a couple scissors. And so I'm gonna have this same platform, and then I'm just gonna slowly add things to this as the weeks keep progressing. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I'll start getting back to some questions. So I'm sorry, had to go on that little rant for you guys. And P-Bars is your best. You're going to have a petition for a rule change. They should, honestly. I don't want to crush your dreams, Fabian. I say go for the petition. I'll support it. If you want me to help you out with that petition, just send it in the comments for this video, and I'll do whatever I can, because I do think that's just not fair. If you're tall, you should have exempts for raising the P-Bars. But it's just something that's not in place right now. So be the change you want to see in the world. And what job are you going to do when you quit gymnastics? I want to either coach high-level elite athletes that, like be an assistant coach at the training center, or open up my own gym and really just run programs that will have, what I wish I could have done when I was like a little kid going through the JO programs, or also just have like maybe an elite program. But owning a gym sounds like that would be a pretty fun way to go, and I know there'd be a lot of support there, but I know it's a tough time to be a gym owner with all this Corona stuff right now. So, there's always some hesitation, but I do want to start making moves towards maybe getting a gym set up, just so I know what I have to do. And I think that'll take a lot of stress off me when I'm thinking about my transition post-retirement. So I want to kind of get on that a little bit. And Haley, the wrist has actually been feeling phenomenal. Like literally it's perfect. It's only the elbow that's giving me issues right now. So very, very happy with that. And any future tattoos? When you trained with Mark at OU in the early 2000s, he hated them. Yeah, I know, but times have changed from the early 2000s, that's for sure. But no more future tattoos for me. I don't have anything in mind quite yet. It'd have to be something very like life fulfilling for me to actually have to go and get another tattoo. But if something happens, I'll definitely do it. It's not like I'm against it. And do I have any good tips or tricks for turnover on Tkachevs? Yeah. The best thing you could do for your Tkachevs is when you do your tap to end up on this side. Like if you tap over here, end on this side of the bar and really feel your chin to chest. But the best thing you could do is also it's something that most people really don't do well enough is, squeezing their butt through that arch and sitting up in a layout before they start the straddle. So give that a go next time you're in there. Do a layout and then bail and straddle halfway through. That's the best way I can tell you to get your best turnover. Any ideas how to make college gymnastics? I wish I could. I wish there was an easy fix. Really, what is missing is it's just too long. People don't know enough about the rules. So if there was a way, maybe we could have like a TV version of gymnastics where it's somehow changed or manipulated for the public, but the content stays the same. So it's like, all right, everyone's going to do these. Everyone's going to still score 15s, 14s. But to the public, when the commentators are going over it, they'd be like, oh, that was a 9.6, and like have some conversion and really just kind of go that way. But honestly, it's just so complicated for people that no one really comes to watch gymnastics unless they know gymnastics already. And there's got to be a way to pull in people that don't know gymnastics. And until we can bridge that gap, do I think we can save college gymnastics. And how many hours and sessions do I train a week? So 6 days a week, and 2 of those days will be single days. The rest of the days will be 2-a-days. And you hope I can train you. If I open up a gym and you want to come to the gym, maybe that's going to be the way we can go about it. And as someone who suffers from chronic illness and pain, you empathize with your experience. Super tough mentally when your body won't do what you want it to do. I appreciate that, Gym Nerd. Yeah, it's good to know you're not alone in these situations, that's for sure. But, it's where we're at in the process, and, things are getting better. Like, I do feel good on floor, and I'm still acting goofy. Like, you can tell in some of these clips, I've got my goofy self still alive, but, it definitely was a tough couple weeks. But I do think that I've taken all the right steps to feel better going forward. But I appreciate you sharing that. And what do you think the best college is to do gymnastics? I don't know. It varies. It changes so much. I think Stanford was probably the best team going into last year and this year. So there's that. But they don't have a place to train anymore. So right now there's really no one. And when you feel your worst and have a setback, you feel like you're losing your entire sense of self-worth. Yep, that's exactly where I was feeling. It's hard, but you just got to remember the better days are ahead. That they are. And how often do you get cortisone shots for your wrist? So I got one in November, one in June, and then one in September. So you're really only supposed to get 3 a year, and hopefully I don't have to get another one until like March. That's my hope. That's my hope. And do you not clip your feet on the P-bars? That could hurt. Yeah, that definitely does happen. But hopefully it's gonna happen. It's inevitable. And it does hurt, but it's not gonna ruin you. You're not done for the rest of the day if you clip your feet on the P-bars. It's just like hitting the horse, It happens. You grit your teeth and then you move on. And having been influenced by Chinese coaching, what separates the Chinese from the other teams around the world? Well, if you're just comparing the U.S., I think we have a lot less harsh rules in terms of what's allowed to, influence someone to continue with the sport, and that we don't have sticks in the U.S. that will hit kids and, make them bleed on their shins. So it's less aggressive, that's for sure. I think they use a lot of fear tactics in China, and that's something I don't think I want to be a part of. Any drills or tips to learn in for Hanma on P-bars? Yeah, I really like this drill on the tramp where you do, a reverse kaboom, and then you sit up to a pike position. Try and bounce as low as you can. That's a great way to go to get you into that position so that you can figure out where your hands need to go and how to get them behind you. And then other than that, just doing back up rise, handstands, ducking your head and trying to get your feet or your hips as far over your head as possible. It's not about your feet. It's more so about your hips, which is something I don't think a lot of coaches say. So here on horse, I'm actually, making my steps. I got my scissor game in there. Feels good, so we're all right. And Jock Stevens, yeah, I love Shao too, man. He's such a legend. If there's someone that has all the knowledge in the world, but still has just like a great sense of humor and humility, it's that man. And do I have any tips for a cause 1.5? Yeah, it's all about getting your hips over your head as fast as possible. And I had some drills in here that you should probably check out. I don't think I'm going to be... Oh, actually, no. They'll come up soon. Once we hop on Vault, I'll show you the drills that I've been doing that have been very, very helpful for me to, progress in a way that will get me the cause full or cause double and maybe cause double and a half with good form. So we'll get there. And how you doing, Odalis Perez? Thanks for tuning in from Mexico. My gosh, I appreciate that. And what happened to Stanford? So Stanford just, they're closed essentially. So all of the guys are actually training in Texas at Cypress right now. But they just like Stanford and Cal, I think, are two schools that just said, hey, like we're just not having any, we're just doing online and we're not going to have any in-person interaction. So all those gymnasts had nowhere to go and Cypress was kind enough to take them all in. Any floor conditioning ideas? Oh, just do layouts and front flips for like 12 passes. That's all the conditioning you're gonna need for floor. That'll help your endurance quite a bit. Any drills for connecting floors or skills on floor? Yeah. Well, okay. I'll give you tips. I won't give you drills because that takes a lot. But I'll say one thing that has really helped is keeping my elbows into my hips. Has been like really learning how to twist by keeping your elbows by your hips and twisting with your hips rather than your shoulders so that you can be tighter as you punch through the floor with your butt and not have to break in your hips. Those are the most important parts for what that I've learned recently from a lot of the Japanese guys that I've been watching. That's like key number one for them is to twist through your hips and keeping your center of mass not up here, but down here. And do that by keeping your elbows by your hips. And how old was I when I started gymnastics? I was 2 years old doing those mommy and me classes. So it's been quite some time, that's for sure. And what are your skills for horse? I do my skill, a Mikulik, and then a scissor full, a Busnari. I do flare spindles, and then I do half Savato, a triple Russian, a Magyar, a tongue fei, a Savato, and a dismount. And so that's the routine I'll hopefully get to in the near future. We'll see how fast my body progresses. And you really want to see the U.S. men's team get an Olympic medal next year? I do too. But I'll be honest, it's going to be tough to catch Russia, Japan, and China. They're 3 countries that have never stopped through this whole quarantine process and COVID process. And maybe they did for a very little, but significantly less time than the U.S. did, that's for sure. And they're doing nothing but getting it significantly better. Where we're all still trying to get back to where we were before, and everyone else is getting better than they were before. And have I ever tried springboard platform diving? No, I haven't. I've jumped off a 10-meter just because I wanted to give it a go at Michigan. But man, that was scary. It's fun though. And what were the considerations? Oh, hold on. These are the drills that I was talking about. So we'll take this real slow. I forgot who was asking about this. But the biggest thing, this hand right here is always coming down. I'm pulling, I'm never pushing. And it's all about getting, you see how I'm like a quarter position in my shoulders and my hips are like, I've got like this U going like around the side. This is awesome position. And then, if I have more speed, I want this hand to be a lot closer. But then as I block through, my hips are going to come this way, which is the best part. And now I'm like in this weird breakdancer move. If you can hit this breakdancer move, you're doing the right things. Because now my hips are coiled because they're facing the wall while my shoulders are still behind me. And so that's how you get this sit-up action after you block through this hand. And then you're able to wrap into it. So that's the best drill I can explain for you to do. And hopefully that works for you in the future. But as you can see, I'll just start figuring out how to pop, how to snap, and how to really get my rotation all in the right direction. And I'm just doing it very lightly right now so that I'm not overexerting my elbow as I block. But those have been very helpful in terms of me figuring out how that actually works. And what were the considerations in no longer performing the Stalder Tkachev after 2017? More so the fact that I wasn't utilizing a layout Tkachev during that time. And a layout Tkachev is just so much easier to be consistent. Where doing the Stalder Tkachev, it required you to be so precise. And there's like a little bit more of a fear factor because, I don't know, it happened so much faster than a layout Tkachev with the pullover tap. And so it was just more of a consistency thing for the same exact value. And that was really the transition I made for it. It wasn't worth doing when I started doing the layout Tkachev. And Diego, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for tuning in. I really, really appreciate seeing you here. And thanks for answering the questions. Can you explain to me what some of those skills are? We'll get to it, Haley. I can't break it down for you right now because it's a lot. But once I start doing them, you'll start seeing them as I get back into routine shape. So don't you worry. We'll get in there. We'll get in there for you. And we're actually coming up on, I think I'm in the last 5 minutes of this video. So we're making some moves. And I think at this point in time, because now I'm about to start trying front giants for the first time. And I'll say I did feel the front giants a little bit more. Oh, wait, no. This is me failing on doing a, what are they? You'll see it. It's a toe on, there we go, this thing. Forgot what that, free hip. I couldn't do a free hip for the life of me. This was on Friday. And I was just like, man, what happened? All my basics are gone. I was like, oh, jeez. But the fact that the free hip didn't hurt, and I almost did a kip right there, and then a cast, and I was like, no, that's exactly the type of stuff that I need to stay away from. So now you'll notice that I think I'm done casting for a while, and I'm just going to start my giants from just a bent leg pullover. But now I'm testing out the pirouettes, making sure that, this isn't hurting, and it's not. I'm like, all right, that's good news. That is very, very good news. So, yeah, we're making moves. And how old were you when you caught your first Tkachev? You were 9? Ooh, that's impressive. I don't know how old I was, though. I remember I was in level 9? I think I was like a level 9 whenever I first caught it. I don't know where that is. But I don't remember how old I was for that, though. But yeah, now here I am trying my front giants. And I'll be honest, they did feel slightly uncomfortable. But I was like, let's take note of that. I told my trainer, and we're doing a lot more rehab exercises to help facilitate that extension with the front giant grip. So, we're just taking notes. We're taking notes this week, that's for sure. And Tara, do I keep up with women's gymnastics? I don't. Really, I don't know. It's also like a different sport for the same reason people don't watch men's gymnastics. It's like there's so much, it's a whole different sport in terms of the skills, the requirements, the start values. It's like I don't really understand all of that. I could watch the 10-0s, but I don't really like watching women's college gymnastics because I just don't find it as entertaining as I do. Like the elite gymnastics I find entertaining. But yeah, once it goes to college, I'm like, everyone's just kind of doing like really easy things, and it kind of bores me, to be perfectly honest. But nothing against it. It's just not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. I'll support it as much as I can, though. I will say that. And what inspired you to keep going for your dream? I'd say going for my dream. I think it's always been just the passion, that like fire inside that always just I always wanted to get better and better. And I think that's what it is. It's just being able to watch how I progress over the years. And I think that's really, I just like how much I've invested and how I'm learning even as I'm like towards the end of my career. There's never a point that you're like, all right, yeah, that's good enough. It's like, no, there's always more you can do. You can always be better. And I think that's just the addiction to the sport that I have. And so we're about to finish my final turn for the week. We got some inlocates and dislocates on rings, which were awesome. So we're going to conclude week 13 with some stuff. And then I'll get to the questions once this is all over. So on Tuesday, we got a first half and a routine watered down with the first two passes watered down. On horse, we did 2 sets of 20 circles. P-bars, 20 swing handstands, 10 half turns, vault, 10 baby drills, and high bar we did some swings and giants. And so then we went into Wednesday being like, all right, so how can we get better from there? Let's do 25 circles with 2 sets. And I was like, that's sweet. And we added a couple more half turns on P-bars. So that was good. And then I was like, all right, on Friday, how can we progress from Tuesday and Wednesday? So we did the full floor set rather than the half and the watered down set. I did miss the Randy, but I went back and fixed it. Horse, I added the 10 scissors, and I did 2 sets of 25 circles, with the scissors, of course, being the addition. Then on P-bars, we did 10 half turns and 10 swing handstands, and I did some chicken dips, too, to help get my upper arm skills going. And then on high bar, we did giants, taps, we did some half turns, front giants, which were awesome. On vaults, we did the baby drills, which really wasn't a progression, but it was just nice. And then rings, we got our swings, inlocates, dislocates, and we did a support, and all of that felt good. So going into next week, we're going to try hitting the Randy in the first half in the set. On horse, I'm going to chill with circles. I'm not going to start doing loops or doing, or any leather work or any turning skills. I might up the circles that I do, so I might go for 30-30. We'll start. That might be something I do so I can get more endurance. P-bars, I want to try reverse pirouettes. That could be a little scary because it's kind of a more twisted range of motion in my elbow, but they felt good going forward, so I want to try the reverse. On high bar, I want to do a quas and Stalder since the pirouettes are good. And Stalder, I just feel like I need to get that flexibility back because that was honestly a struggle for me in the weeks previous. And then on rings, we got, I want to just get those inlocates and dislocates higher. Maybe try a handstand on rings too. I might throw that in there. And then vault, I want to try a cause full. I don't want to go too aggressive, but I want to be able to block, but not like overly aggressively block. And so that's all I got for this week. I'll stick around if you got some questions for me. We'll answer it, but I just want to conclude the gymnastics there, and then I'm going to zoom out, and I'll take you guys' questions now. But yeah, it's been quite the long